Welcome to the Oyster Aero podcast. I am Jeff Yerge, founder of Oyster Aero, and we are very lucky to have industry veteran Karl Drusch with us today. Karl has served as an airline engineer, Pratt & Whitney engineer, and is the founder of TrueAero. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, Karl, that's great. Karl, how's your summer going so far?
It's not bad. It's here in Texas, North Texas. It gets a little hot, but I have found enough time to jump on the motorcycle and ride around. So can't complain too much. Can't complain.
Is there a motorcycle brand? Is it True Harley or?
I've been a Harley rider for just a couple of years.
Oh, that's
like
wonderful.
like 50.
That's awesome. All right, we'll get more into that some other time.
Excellent.
All right, so you started TrueAero back in 2013, and I'm curious, why did you start the company? What was the environment like back then? Like, what made you jump into TrueAero?
TrueAero was not specifically started by design. Just before TrueAero, maybe 3 or 4 years before TrueAero, we were coming out of a big financial crisis, both here in the U.S. and in the world. During that time, I'll call it semi-retired. But a bunch of circumstances came about where I was able to acquire a bunch of A320s with some decent engines on them. And my founding partner and I, who I eventually bought out, decided, you know what? We love these engines. The deal makes sense. Or these aircraft, the deal makes sense. Let's go ahead and buy them. The initial thought was to go ahead and lease the motors out and then consign the airframes and a few of the other motors to other parts brokers. But at the same time, we owned a warehouse down in Sebastian, Florida, and we said, wait a minute, we got a big old warehouse. We know how to sell parts. Let's put it in the warehouse. And literally, that's how TrueAero launched. I made a couple of phone calls, got some friends, and we got going.
Wow, you make it sound pretty easy after.
No, 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 no. The market back then was a bit easier. I'll
Yeah,
give you that. It is challenging today, not just the industry and this sector, but business in and of itself is much more difficult today than it was, back in 2013, 2014 timeframe.
sure. Now, one thing I noticed about your background, and I've worked with you and picked up on, I mean, you are an engineer, and I've found in this industry, founders and CEOs tend to either be straight up salespeople or engineers that can sell. And I'm just curious, like, how your background, do you feel that that contributed to how you start and led a company? Can you walk me through that a little bit?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, engineer, Purdue grad. The world should be run by engineers, and that's going to upset a bunch of people, but that's my moniker, and that's what I live by. It has helped me in a lot of different ways. Yes, I'm an engineer, and yes, I started off as an engineer for airlines and OEMs and MROs. But I also am an aviation geek. My whole family is in aviation. I know nothing else. I'm stupid to the rest of the world. I know a little bit about airplanes. But back before I started TrueAero, I ran my own business. After leaving Pratt & Whitney, I ran my own business for about a decade. And I learned a lot about finance and how the economics of the aftermarket works and aircraft leasing and engine leasing works. This goes back into early 2000s, into the late 2000s. And I really found out that finance and accounting and investing and capital sources, they're really important, and it's really straightforward. I add my engineering background, knowing the detail of the aircraft and engines and repairs and how the airlines work, and it just was a marriage. You made the comment that it's salespeople or engineers that could sell. I can't sell worth a damn. I just happen to know engines and aircraft really well, and I know a little bit about finance and accounting.
Sure, sure. I guess that, that adds a tremendous amount of credibility too, right? Obviously, because you know so much about it.
Yeah, I mean, it comes natural to me. It's second nature. Like I said, I was born into aviation, and I know very little of anything else. I know a little about motorcycles, though. I am pretty good on
Uh,
motorcycles. We'll talk about that
all
later.
right. We'll always talk about that later. So, one thing I've always kind of been impressed with is the culture at TrueAero. Some of my friends work there that we met when I saw you at MRO. And how do you, in your company going from 2013 to where it is today, it's obviously grown quite a bit. How do you kind of keep that culture going? How do you keep everybody's eye on the ball? How do you keep the spirit going? That sort of thing.
That's a challenge. Culture and how we work together and collaborate together is very important. It really came out of its importance during COVID. Pre-COVID, most everybody was in an office. Post-COVID, most nobody is in an office. So
Sure.
that caused a whole bunch of challenges. But we've got a number of core values within TrueAero that are not just words on a piece of paper that are thrown out there, but it's really how I think of life after a couple of years of being on this earth. And we really spend a lot of time, working as a team and collaborating together. We focus on our communications back and forth. One of our core values, and this is not you can ask anybody else in your organization. One of my 6 core values is have fun. I've got a basic concept. You live, you work 50% of your life, 24 hours in a day. 8 you're asleep, 8 you're at work, 8 you're not at work. So
Right.
forget the sleep, half of your life is at work. If you're not having fun, you got to be doing something else. Okay, life is too short to do that. So that's the family, the village. I always refer to us as a team or a village, and it really is true. And for the most part, it has really done well for us in our hybrid world that we live today.
Yeah, and you're international, right? I mean, you have staff everywhere, right?
Half of our well, the HR folks can tell you, but about half of our 70 people are outside of North America, I will say.
Sure, sure. Wow, that's really cool.
So we're
By the way, I
all the
love
time
that.
zones. Yeah.
I love the concept. All right, so more on the market for a moment. Right now, I mean, you have the supply chain shortage and everything is really hot right now. Where do you see the most opportunity at the moment in the aftermarket?
Um, Realize TrueAero is we've got 3 verticals, but let me just talk about 2 of them. The one that I think you're alluding to is the USM
Sure.
side of the business. But we also have a much larger leasing side of our business. As far as AUM, leasing is 90%, USM is 10%.
Right.
But today those markets pretty well mirror, not necessarily mirror, but follow each other, in a certain sort of way. And right now, narrow body market for 7Bs is very strong. V2500s are very strong. 5Bs, not so much. On the wide body side of the world, CF6s, CF680s specifically are strong. 100-inch 4000s, which I know is a relatively small fleet, but the 100-inch 4000 is pretty strong. And then on the leasing side, you pick the narrow body. With the
Yeah.
problems that the GTF is having, with the problems that both Boeing and Airbus are having, the old 737, 700s, 800s are going longer and longer, as well as the A320 family.
Right.
So that side is still very strong, and I see it strong for the next 2 to 3 years minimally before the tail starts happening.
Sure, sure. No, that's been evident. Thank you for that. And I guess, finally, in our little chat here, our quick clip, what's on the horizon for the next couple of years? Is it just supporting the market? Are there any major plans for TrueAero? Where are you guys going in the next few years?
We are starting to scale up on the leasing side a little more.
Sure.
The availability of capital is out there. We have a good vision as to where the market is going on whole aircraft. On the USM side, we're going to continue to focus on specific platforms. We focus more on the engine side, although we've got a very large airframe group. But we focus more on the engine side. So the CFM family, the V family, CF6, PW4000, no surprises in that. The only new surprises we've got our eyes on some of the newer technology and the newer kit. I'm not talking like A380s
Right.
or anything like that, but we're always in the hunt. We're definitely in a buying mode right now, but we're always in the hunt for newer technologies and doing some sale leasebacks with those technologies.
That's wonderful. Okay. I know this was a quick blast, but Karl, I've always enjoyed speaking with you, and the people at TrueAero have been great and signing up for Oyster, and we've been working together, and I think that your company is just amazing. So it's been nice checking in with you, and thank you so much for coming to you'll love it. We have officially named it the Pearlcast.
The Pearlcast, excellent. I love that, Jeff. Thank you so much for inviting me.
All right, take care. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.